as you probably know, I was an emergency doctor for many years. I've treated 130,000 patients in my career in the emergency room. What I observed is that over half of the patients came to the emergency room for self-inflicted illnesses. They shouldn't have been there. They were in there for things that were caused by their diet and by their lifestyle. And those things included all the infectious diseases, the autoimmune diseases, heart attacks, diabetes, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, joint disease, sleep apnea, Alzheimer's disease. All these things that are caused by our horrible diet. And I felt bad for these patients. Why can't I just tell them what to do so they don't have to come to the emergency room? Mm-hmm. I mean, for us emergency doctors, that gives us a living, all right, but we really don't want that to happen. And sometimes you have to go to the emergency room anyway, but over 50%, in fact, some of the studies now have shown that 80% of people coming to the emergency room shouldn't be there. They're there for their own problems because of their lifestyle, what they eat, what they drink, lack of exercise, and dangerous behavior. All those different things cause you to go to the emergency room, and it cuts years off your life. And I started looking at other countries. I worked quite a bit in Haiti. Just give you an example. Looking back at COVID, here in this country, we had more deaths in America than any other country in the world, because we're the sickest people in the world. We had an average of 300 deaths per 100,000 people. So in Haiti, where I worked, that's the poorest country in the Western Hemisphere. Those people live in little grass shacks with mud houses, and they make 50 cents a day. First of all, in this country, we had 80% vaccinated, and it was the worst country in the world, because we're the sickest. Because COVID pretty much killed sick people. Healthy people usually didn't die from it. Most people were low on vitamin D, they were obese, they had diabetes, they had all these diseases I talked about, and they came to the emergency room. Those are the people that COVID hit so hard. In Haiti, they only had 1% vaccination, not 80%. They only had 70 deaths per 100,000. They didn't wear masks, they didn't social distance, it was almost unheard of. And why didn't COVID affect them? It's because they were healthy. Mm-hmm. They didn't eat all this processed food. I remember last time I was there, I asked, what would you like to have from America? And one of the guys that was with me, he says, we'd like to have a McDonald's. I said, no! You don't know how lucky you are not to have McDonald's in Haiti, because the people are out all day walking in the sun, working outside, eating vegetables and fruits. That's all they have, right? Mm-hmm. And so it was great. So when I started looking at some of my patients back there in the emergency room, I had a nurse that came to me, and at first she really inspired me, because she said, how can I lose some weight? She was about almost 300 pounds. And I got to talking to her. She loved Coke. So I said, would you be willing to give up Coke for a year? And she said, yes. So she did, and she lost 110 pounds just by giving up Coke. That's all she did in 1 year. And it really dramatically illustrated to me how sugars are so bad for us, especially liquid sugars. They go straight to our body. They make us more hungry. They increase our glycemic index. They make us insulin resistant, and all those things. So God gave us water to drink. Because Jesus said, I am the living water. What happened that we stopped loving water? It's and all these things. So the other thing that I really noticed that got me interested in Thin for Fun is the obesity that we see in America, more than we see in other countries, is not our fault, not your fault. And when I say that, I mean it sincerely, because what happened, you look back at the days of my parents and my grandparents, they were all thin. They ate food from the farm. They're all farmers, pretty much. If they weren't farmers, they bought food from the farmers at the farmer market, and they didn't have all this processed food. And during World War II, there was a big shortage in this country of things, and food was rationed even. And so after the war, these companies started selling processed food. They said, And what was worse, remember the cigarettes that we used to all smoke back in the days? Guess what happened to all those companies that sold cigarettes? Did they go out of business?
No.
What did they do?
Got rich.
They bought the food companies. So Reynolds bought Kraft, and Philip Morris bought, I forget which other one, but they bought the food companies. They brought all their scientists with them, all their advertising people, and said, hey, we got people addicted to cigarettes. They beat us on that. Let's get them addicted to food because they're going to love food. Let's put stuff in it that tastes really good. Let's make it really cheap, make it really convenient, make it look good and taste good. And we'll make it so it's preserved, so it won't, just all these great things will sell more and more food. So what happened, we looked at it, as you mentioned on TV, as Angie said, we saw on TV, this is good. Have breakfast is the most important meal of the day. Who said that? Kellogg's. Mm-hmm. Why? They sold cereal. What's Kellogg's cereal?
Sugar.
90% sugar. It's the worst thing we can eat. Why is breakfast important? It's not. In fact, probably breakfast is the least important meal of the day because you need that little time to fast for your body to get. So I started looking at it. Since it's not your fault, maybe I could use some education, some tricks, some different things that are fun and put it all together into a 12-step program that'll help people see the processed food is so bad, the sugary drinks are so bad, the lack of exercise is bad, but you can't just take things away from people. And as we heard Buddy earlier said, he gave up potato chips, but he took carrots in his place, so now he eats carrots and chickpeas. So you can't just give up something, you have to substitute a bad habit for a good habit. And the same goes for sugary drinks. If you give up sugary drinks, well, then find some good water. If you need it sparkling water, flavored, whatever, but water is what we need. So that's why I developed Thin for Fun and figured out, started out with my family, with my friends, with my nurses and even some doctors that I worked with. How can we teach people that we have been programmed, we have been deceived, we have been poisoned with all this food? When you look, the other thing that if you've been with me, I mention so often is GRAS, G-R-A-S, generally regarded as safe. That's what the FDA says. About 3,000 chemicals. Now you look at the ingredients, we tell people to look at the ingredients, all those big names that you can't pronounce, they say they're GRAS, they're generally regarded as safe, but they're not, they've never been tested. The reason they got approved is the company that make it, like Monsanto, the chemical companies, just send a letter to the FDA that the chemical is safe for humans. They never tested them with each other. What if you use copper sulfate with titanium dioxide? What does that do to your body? And you see that at HEB all the time, the titanium dioxide is white paint. And they put it into our food to make it look white. And so, just telling people to look at the ingredients, when to eat, like you say, give yourself some fasting time every day. The other thing that's so bad about the processed food are these vegetable seed oils, sunflower oil, vegetable oils. They call them vegetable oils. Those aren't oils; those are lubricants. What they were built for in the Second World War, when you didn't have enough petroleum, they took these seeds and they boiled them under very high pressure, very high temperature. Took out all the good stuff. What was left behind was the oil only. And they were using that for lubricant in cars and engines, and it works good for that. So they decided to put some flavoring in it and sell it to people, call it vegetable oil. That's the main cause probably of Alzheimer's, because our brain we need omega-3s in our brain. And that takes away the omega-3s because it's all omega-6s, and that balance throws it off. So most likely the seeds that we see, and you look at everything, artificial butter, look at your ingredients, you'll see sunflower seeds, vegetable oil, safflower oil, all those oils. The only oil that's good is extra virgin and avocado. Those are oils you can eat because they're not processed. But the other oils are highly processed. In fact, there's nothing left in the seed in there. It's just the lubricant. So Maybe we should start using those in our cars again. And the fact that we need buddies is you can't do this alone because it's too easy just to slip back into our habits. And bad habits are hard to break. And food tastes so good, and it's so much work. But I didn't want it to be something that people would just lose weight for a week, a day, a month, a year, and then bounce back. I want it to be a lifetime. So we're trying to teach lifetime changes. And I'm all proud of you for joining us and others. We hope that we'll see this grow as time goes on. And we appreciate everything so much that you've done.